How's it going, everybody? You know, lately I've been doing some shout outs here at the beginning of the episode. Hope you don't mind, I think it's fun to do. This week I want to draw attention to a channel called Pseudo Cinema. I'll admit that I'm friends with the guys who make this channel, but that no less makes them not one of the best channels I've ever seen. It is so freaking funny. If you like this channel, then please go check them out. They do a show called Previously On. That's the one that I would highly recommend starting with, and I believe that they are going to be doing a Batman vs Superman episode as well. Personally, I'm gonna try to muscle my way in there and see if they'll let me do a cameo in it, so be on the lookout for that. Do yourself a favor, go check them out. I think you're gonna like what you see. Let's jump right into the review. Alright, so I remember rumors about a Batman and a Superman duo, combo, collaboration movie happening at some point back in the 90s. I think I remember it was my dad who was talking about it, and I was like, that sounds really cool. Does that mean that Christopher Reeves and Michael Keaton are gonna get in a movie together? Well, I didn't actually know the names of the actors. I just kind of was like, is the same guy gonna play Superman and Batman in this movie? My dad was like, probably not, son. In order to bring those two worlds together, they would most likely need to get cheaper actors. At the time, I lost all hope. I had this real world realization that movies cost money, and that maybe the closest thing I was ever gonna get to seeing those two worlds come together would be in the animated series. Is that the plural for it? Seri? Siri? Oh, crap. Little did I know that superhero films were gonna become the cash cow that they are today. Finally, my dreams of seeing Superman and Batman together on the silver screen as best buds were gonna come true with a full Hollywood budget behind it. So, is it everything that I always hoped that it would be? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's to check it out. We're going all out today. We're watching one of the biggest movies of all time. I even got my popcorn ready to go, so why don't you join with me, grab your popcorn, and let's jump right into my review of Batman v Superman. So we start off—
there was a time above.
A little shaky. I mean, voiceover? Really? And this isn't even like good voiceover where you're like, okay, well, it was kind of necessary. It's this pretentious, poetic dribble kind of voiceover.
There was a time above, a time before. There were perfect things, diamond absolutes.
All right, well, it's gotta get better than this, I imagine. So the movie kicks off with this scene that we've seen about 1,000,000 times in the last 5 years. Spoiler alert, Bruce's parents come out of a theater, then they die, pearls fall on the ground. And thus, Batman is born. Complete with Zack Snyder's interpretation of Nolan's version of Bruce Wayne as a little kid falling down a well.
Why did we fall, Bruce?
I don't know.
But in this version, instead of his dad showing up and giving him some nice fatherly advice, instead, bats magically carry Bruce out of the well. Oh, it's gonna be that kind of movie. Okie doke. Batman isn't like Ant-Man, where he has the ability to magically communicate with ants. But fortunately, it turns out—
in the dream,
it was all just a dream. But enough of that, now we jump over to Bruce Wayne's perspective of the events that happened in Man of Steel, which I actually really appreciate this. I think this is a smart way to kick off the film, especially since there was so much real-world pushback about how destructive Superman was and how frustrated people were that he didn't take this fight away from the city. So it's kind of cool to use that destruction to the advantage of this film to show like, oh, maybe this was just kind of Superman's first fight and he didn't know what he was doing, and now maybe in this movie they're gonna show the ramifications of that. I don't know, we'll see. So apparently while Superman was fighting up in the air, Bruce was on the ground making a phone call to one of the guys who works for him.
I want you to get everyone out of the building right now.
But even the interns? We still have paperwork to file, I mean.
The boss wants us out of the building, so let's make it happen.
I suppose it's nice for Bruce Wayne to tell them to get out of the building, but like, what kind of boss makes you stay in a building that's falling down until he says it's okay to leave? There's like 20 9/11s happening all around them. Get out of the way! I'm Batman! If I don't get to the set soon, Snyder's gonna blow up the whole city! Whoa! So Bruce Wayne zooms his way towards the destruction. Alright, everybody pose for that disaster movie cliche shot that we do in every movie ever since Independence Day. Well, I guess one of Bruce Wayne's powers is being impervious to glass cuts. I should have spent less time bulking up and more time doing cardio. And then, the worst thing that you could possibly imagine happens to Bruce Wayne. That guy that we never really got to know dies in the building. No! Why? Generic boss man. Why did he have to go? next time. So Bruce finds one of his employees trapped under this girder.
I can't feel my legs. You're gonna be okay. You hear me?
Ta-da!
You're gonna make it, little boy. You just keep scraping along.
I'm gonna be all right, Homestar. I can make it on my own.
What's that you say? That isn't enough cliche emotional fodder for you? Well, how about this?
It's okay.
I can power a small city with my whining.
Oh, Tenderfoot.
You know what? We're gonna find your mom. Where is she?
She's a bird? A plane? Wait, your mom's Superman? Well, this does not make Bruce happy, as the music is indicating Bruce angry. All right, then we cut to somewhere in the Indian Ocean. Great titling, guys, like something that the writer put in the script and was like, we'll figure it out later. And then they never did. There we find kryptonite, the thing that they said wasn't gonna be in this movie, but then they realized that the only thing that Superman has that could hurt him outside of kryptonite is, you know, actual emotions. But we'll get into that later. Then we go over to Africa, where Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen are doing their thing, getting into all kinds of shenanigans. You know how they do.
Jimmy Olsen, photographer.
They're there because they're gonna do this interview with this terrorist guy.
Are you a terrorist, General?
All right, you got me, yeah.
They did not tell me the interview was with a lady.
I'm not a lady, I'm a journalist.
But it turns out Jimmy Olsen has a tracking device hidden inside his camera. Wow, you'd think they would have invented a little bit more discreet tracking device, since it's literally the only purpose it has is to be discreet, yet this thing is blinking and beeping. Very counterproductive. Which leads to this. Whoa! Wow, I guess there goes Jimmy Olsen. It's fine, we'll just kill off one of the main characters of the story of Superman. Who cares? At least we know he's safe and buff in the Supergirl universe. Anyway, this action triggers the CIA to send in a drone strike.
Python, we've lost our asset on the ground.
There's still a civilian in the compound. We'll extract her.
Negative.
That's right, the government is about to send in a drone strike on a compound with an American reporter inside. Now, a bunch of people get shot. Of course, none of that would matter. However, Lois Lane is in trouble. You know what that means? Superman is coming to save the day. Woohoo! Da 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 da.
Take one step. You will see the inside of her head.
I've already seen inside her head. And then Superman kills this dude. This isn't the heroic, amazing Superman entry that I'm used to. I know it's a new generation, but geez, I'm gonna give it a shot. Maybe that's the direction they're looking to go here. Because now we have this lady testifying against Superman in court, which is kind of understandable because, you know, Superman didn't save anybody except Lois Lane. He didn't even save Jimmy Olsen. Does Lois Lane just have some sort of button that she can push? But no, this lady is actually using easily confused metaphors to make it seem like Superman actually caused the destruction in that compound and the surrounding village.
Like the sky cracked open. He came down, then came fire. No mercy in the villages.
Well, that's vague enough for me.
The world has been so caught up with what Superman can do. No one has asked what he should do.
Really? Nobody has asked that? I thought that was the whole point of showing all that destruction at the very beginning of the movie, to show that, like, there's a negative side to the stuff that Superman did, yet, right off the bat, we see that there's this kind of idea among the people that Superman is kind of assumed to be a good guy. I mean, yeah, there's a few fringe people, including Batman, who think that Superman isn't that great, but like, most people apparently think that he's great. You would think that there would be a whole group of people who are saying, yeah, it's cool that Superman is so strong and everything, but my husband and wife died. We gotta get rid of him. Find any way to get rid of this guy. So if I'm being honest, I really don't see why it was necessary to come up with this whole little village setup thing that they did here. There's a ready-made disaster that could be utilized in the advantage of people who would want to say that Superman is bad because he did a bad thing in the last movie.
Let the record show that this committee holds him responsible.
Whoa, your committee holds him responsible? Well then.
He'll never answer to you.
Right, like, Why would he?
He answers to no one, not even, I think, to God.
Cut over to these guys watching some football. It's amazing how this movie can take things that you love and make you feel sad. Even football seems sad in this movie.
And now a fight breaks out. Gotham City.
Then we go to prison, where Batman is killing a guy? Okay, maybe he wasn't killing him, he was just torturing him. And also, doing this.
He branded him.
That's right, kids, this isn't your father's Batman or Superman or whatever. This one kills off main characters and even has your favorite characters being terrible people. That's what you wanted, right? Cause it's dark and gritty. Meanwhile, back in their apartment, Lois finds that a stray bullet fired in the village has lodged itself inside of her journal. My goodness, it's the most impractical round ever made. It's so strong that it remains completely intact, yet it can't even penetrate a notebook. Meanwhile, at the Batcave, Alfred is lecturing Batman about his gruesome new tactics.
New rules.
Just right. Outback Steakhouse.
We've always been criminals. Nothing's changed.
Everything's changed.
This is definitely not the Batman and Superman I remember, but that's okay. It's Superman and Batman for a new generation, okay?
That's how it starts. The rage, the feeling of powerlessness.
The foreshadowing.
That turns good men cruel.
Just trust me on this one. What is that guy talking about? All right, so now we're introduced to the classic Superman villain, Lex Luthor, who, apparently isn't actually Lex Luthor, but his name does also happen to be Lex.
My father named the company after himself. He was the Lex in front of the corp.
So he's brought our little senator friend to his laboratory so he can present to her his new findings that could serve as a contingency plan for controlling Superman, which you would think would be something that she would be interested in, since she's the one who's saying that we need to control Superman.
We concluded the mineral could be weaponized if a large enough sample was found. And then, Emerald City. Now, Rocky is radioactive, but what he needs from you is an import license.
Why would a criminal be so worried about staying above board? Oh, if I don't get the government's permission, I can't import this rock. That's dumb.
And why would we want to weaponize this material?
As a deterrent?
Right, like, isn't that what you were advocating earlier when you said...
Let the record show that this committee holds him responsible.
But now, when someone actually presents a way to actually do that, you don't seem very interested?
You don't have to use a silver bullet, but if you forge one, we don't have to depend upon the kindness of monsters.
Then we cut over to more proof that everybody just automatically thinks Superman is a hero. This place right here is a memorial, and it's literally called Hero Park. However, one of these crazy people who are upset at Superman because he lost his legs during the attack decides to climb up onto the statue of Superman. How dare you disrespect the badge? Hey! Where's the struggle here? It's not like Independence Day where you have the one scientist who's like, everybody please, the aliens are coming and they're bad. You sympathize with that guy because you know the aliens really are coming, but instead everybody already believes that Superman's good. He's like, oh, Superman's bad. Well, he just sounds like a crazy guy because everybody's like, well, but that's not true because we're told that it's not true.
Headline: End of love affair with man in the sky? Question mark.
Okay.
The only internal struggle that we're having here is that one time this character was good and I liked him when I was a kid, but now he's kind of bad, but he still has an S on his chest, so I guess I'm a little conflicted because this movie really makes me hate the guy. In previous Superman renditions, they've shown him saving cats from trees, and that shows you that, oh, this guy actually cares about humanity, even though he's had to make some really tough choices. It's almost like he seems annoyed with humanity here. What? Good. Well, while everybody is worried about football and statues and other nonsense, Clark Kent is getting on the real issues. He wants to write about this Bat Vigilante in Gotham, which is really getting under his skin because the Bat Vigilante is literally getting under other people's skin.
Why aren't we covering this? The American conscience died.
Oh, that makes sense. However, when Lois wants to go rogue and follow a lead on some bullet, he gives her all the resources.
Not sold anywhere commercially in the world, even black market.
Oh, you checked black market Craigslist? Okay.
Flight to DC tonight, couple of days there.
Go.
Coach! And don't take Jimmy Olsen either. Oh. Wait. So this politician comes to Lex Luthor's house to let him know that she has blocked his import permit. I thought this lady was against Superman because she was passing legislation. Maybe I misunderstood what was happening.
I'm blocking the import license for your minerals.
Whatever will he do now? Now that the government hasn't written on a piece of paper saying, yeah, you can import that kryptonite, I guess he just can't, can he?
I guess what we're learning from this movie is that some things are bad to do only when the obviously bad guys do them.
Can I call you Jew?
You can call me whatever you like. Take a bucket of piss and call it Granny's peach tea. I'm not gonna drink it.
That should be upside down. The devils don't come from hell beneath us, no. No, they come from the sky.
Oh, snap! So Bruce Wayne realizes that it's Lex Luthor who's causing all the trouble that we've seen so far in the movie. So he says he's gonna go into his house in the Batsuit. But Alfred tells him that he doesn't have to wear the Batsuit because...
He's been invited.
Aw, man, I wanted to wear my dress-up clothes to the party. Dang it.
Man, I wish Robin had been killed in his more traditional red and green suit, so people who aren't fans watching this would understand what this is supposed to mean. Oh well, let's go to the party. At the party, Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent bump into each other, and they have this nice little fan service conversation.
The Daily Planet criticizing those who think they're above the laws. A little hypocritical, considering every time your hero saves a cat out of a tree, you read a puff-piece editorial.
Oh, that was the old Superman. This one wouldn't be so stupid to save cats from trees, or do things like have more than one emotion.
If he wanted to, could burn the whole place down.
Most of the world doesn't share your opinion.
Why wouldn't the world have a problem?
And we just have a bad history with freaks dressed like clowns.
Because of the Joker!
Ow! Wow, that is a good grip. You should not pick a fight with this person.
Because this whole movie is called Batman vs. Superman.
Not pick a fight with this person.
It's a bold choice to have a self-aware throwaway joke there about them fighting each other whenever you've spent almost no time setting up any tangible reason why they would actually fight each other. That's brave. While you're at it, maybe you should just have Batman turn to the camera and say, thanks for your money.
Maybe we could partner on something. My R&D is up to all sorts of no good.
Doesn't Batman and Lex Luthor kind of have the same goal here?
I think he's kind of onto something that they should work together. I mean, that is if Lex Luthor actually acted like a traditional Lex Luthor and not like this character. So while Lex Luthor gives this super on-the-nose speech,
"Hi, I'm the bad guy. Don't trust me. Even if I do things that all the good guys are doing, don't trust me in doing it because, like I said, I'm the bad guy."
The bittersweet pain among men is having knowledge with no power, because that is paradoxical, and,
Bruce Wayne downloads the mainframe. But Wonder Woman then steals that for some reason. I don't know. Clark Kent was also gonna check up on Bruce Wayne and see what was going on, but he's interrupted by a montage calling his name.
Oh no, I better find a phone booth.
That's right. Then we get this nice
montage, great, perfect, of the Superman statue flying around and saving people. Oh wait, this isn't the statue? This is actually supposed to be Superman? They're both so statuesque, I can't tell the difference. And people begin to worship him as if he's Jesus. You know, Superman is a pretty difficult character to write for, I have to imagine, because he's a Superman. He's an alien, he's got all these powers, he's got almost no weaknesses. So when you take the approach that it's this alien who's like, I just don't fit in this world, I don't understand the world that I'm in, it makes him the most unrelatable that the Superman character can be.
To have an individual engaging in these state-level interventions should give us all pause.
Throughout the montage, we get these political pundits giving opinions that would have been really interesting to hear from actual characters in the movie.
Maybe he's not some sort of devil or Jesus character. Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right thing.
I'm not saying he shouldn't act. I'm saying he shouldn't act unilaterally.
I can't even tell if this lady's supposed to be a good guy or a bad guy. Like, if that's what she wants to do, then why did she turn down Lex Luthor and the one way the government could possibly have in controlling Superman? In fact, I think this would have been a lot better if Lex Luthor was this character. They could have made him like a Frank Underwood type character, and he would have been an interesting, convincing politician playing off the fears that people would naturally have of Superman.
How do we know you won't one day act against America's interests?
Must there be a Superman?
There is.
I don't know what to think about myself. Come on, Fox News, answer me. Iterations of Superman that I think work well, like the Reeves version, or Smallville, or even Lois and Clark, they make him more of a small-town boy who eventually discovers that he has these superpowers. It makes you feel like, what if one day I found out I had superpowers? In this movie, by spending so much time relating him to Jesus and making him out to be a god and an alien, you're trying to create this deep, existential version of Superman, but in reality, you've really just gone full retard.
Never go full retard.
So you've created a character that's just not relatable. Now nobody cares.
So Lex Luthor goes to the house of the guy whose legs got broken so we can give him the greatest gift of all, this ominous turn chair. So he decides to go use it on the senator. Whoa, now that's effective. Meanwhile, in prison, that guy who Batman branded earlier on in the film gets killed by one of his fellow inmates. All because he was branded by Batman, which is weird because you think that the other inmates would be somewhat sympathetic to this. Clark Kent finds out about this injustice and goes to investigate.
It just seems so unproductive to just go around branding people. And I'm sure this is supposed to be setting up for Batman to change. It's like an hour and a half in and I hate everybody in this movie. I think it's made worse because Bruce Wayne is so rich and he's going around and branding poor people. That's no excuse to commit crimes, but like Batman's also committing crimes, but spending a lot of money in order to do it. He has somewhat of an economic advantage on these people. Why doesn't he use his money to try to like create rehab programs or something?
One man decides who lives. A man like that, words don't stop it.
Well, this really upsets Clark Kent.
Apparently, the greatest injustice that Clark Kent knows about from his job at the Daily Planet is that some criminals are being killed in a jail in a different city. Classic Superman, defender of Gotham City's criminal underground.
It's also weird that this lady's words about Batman literally mirror what the lady said earlier, but about Superman, and she's talking to Superman. How could Superman be mad at Batman for doing the exact same thing that he's doing?
All right, so Batman goes to steal the kryptonite, because if anybody's gonna have this illegal substance that can kill Superman, it's gonna be Batman. This is the part where Batman famously guns down a bunch of people. I've seen the memes and everything on the internet, so I probably don't have to point it out anyway. I think this is the least out of character thing that Batman does in this whole movie. Causing a bunch of property damage and doing exactly the thing that he's mad at Superman for doing. Speaking of Superman, so these two angry boys stare at each other for a little bit, then they say these dumb lines that feel like a 5-year-old wrote them.
Next time they shine your light in the sky, don't go to it.
Tell me, do you bleed? You will.
Zing! Got him! Amazing, Batman. Now Batman is really mad. Superman broke his car, and that can't be good for the suspension of the Batmobile, having to hit that ramp every time you pull into your driveway. Probably gonna need new struts really soon. But Lex Luthor, amazingly, ends up getting the kryptonite. I guess he maybe found some sort of legal loophole or something.
In the middle of all this, we get this weird Scarecrow-esque fever dream from Batman that kind of shows how irrational his brain is working right now and what he thinks might happen in the future if Superman ends up taking over the world. It's literally just tossed in the middle of the film. There's no explanation as to why it's there. And then we cut back to the film. So that's what we're gonna do.
He has the power to wipe out the entire human race, and if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty.
Great reasoning, Batman. Yeah, if 1% of this population is possibly committing terrorism, then let's just bomb the whole city. So Superman goes to see his mom,
where she gives him this kind of motivational speech.
Be anything they need you to be, or be none of it.
I don't know anything. Why do you come and ask me these dumb questions, Clark?
You don't know this world a thing.
I mean, technically, sure, but like, this is supposed to be a superhero movie. Well, now it's time for the congressional hearing where Congress is gonna decide on Superman. Outside, we got these Westboro Baptist Church-esque protesters, real crazies. This is my favorite one right here. You can't be Christian and pro-alien.
So Superman shows up to court and he is here to prove that God's not dead. Oh no, it's a different movie. Okay.
This is how a democracy works. We act by the consent of the governed, sir.
That's right. So in a democracy, we could all vote on whether you should live or die, and if the majority said you should die, then, well, we could kill you. Fortunately, we don't live in a democracy, so none of that matters. I just wanted to communicate to you how it would work if we did live in a democracy. Anyway, let's find out if you've actually broken any laws.
Today is a day for truth.
Justice and the American way.
Because only by speaking...
But then our senator friend sees something a little menacing on the table.
don't think that's actually tea in there. But then, boom! Oh no!
And when Bruce Wayne sees this on the TV,
he is ticked. He's so angry. I don't know why. I guess he thinks Superman blew up this courthouse or something? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's kind of confusing. Apparently, Batman just has some sort of mental disorder. One too many punches in the head, and he's just like, oh, my frontal cortex, it's gone. It's completely eroded away. I have no ability to reason anymore, even though at one point I was the world's greatest detective. This is more frustrating than spilling your popcorn. I'll eat some popcorn.
So that does it. He goes and steals the kryptonite rock from Lex Luthor. Then he heads back to the Batcave to do what angry people do.
CrossFit, bro. And of course, ripping apart this priceless rock.
I am so tired of Superman. I just can't think of any other destructive thing I could do with this rock. Wow, Lex Luthor is really good at designing logos. That's right, on the thumb drive that Batman stole from Lex Luthor, there happens to be these profiles of some of the people who are gonna be in the next movie, including the theme song of Wonder Woman.
Meanwhile, bothered by having a special rock stolen from him, Lex Luthor, he goes to comfort himself in the jacuzzi that's inside of the crashed ship that was in the last movie? Something like that? Anyway, in the jacuzzi, he cuts his hand super deep. Why don't you just get a needle and squirt it? Mixes his DNA with Zod's DNA and then something.
Preparing chrysalis and commencing metamorphosis.
Oh yeah, of course. So after the bombing, the public is finally upset at Superman. Hey, you can destroy the entire city of Metropolis, but do not destroy the Congressional building. Which this doesn't make a whole lot of sense because Lex's plan doesn't seem to depend on public outcry in the least.
Well, Alfred doesn't want Batman going out and fighting Superman, but Batman explains to Alfred that it's in his blood to be a hunter because there were people in his family who used to be hunters.
They were hunters.
Because that makes sense. My dad and his father before that were all YouTubers. On top of that, why is he hunting Superman? Just really frustrating for the audience. Honestly, Lex Luthor seems a lot more reasonable in this situation because he's just at least claiming that he just wants to protect the city just in case there's another Zod or Superman or whatever. Batman just wants to murder him.
Then Lex Luthor kidnaps Lois Lane and brings her on top of this building.
And I believe the straightest path to Superman is a pretty little road.
He pushes Lois Lane off this roof. And of course, since Lois Lane has that button or whatever on her body, Superman shows up and saves her, puts her on the ground, so now everything would be okay, but Superman, being just as irrational as Batman, he can't walk away from a fight. So he goes up and he's gonna talk to Lex Luthor and he's gonna hash it out.
I figured out way back. If God is all powerful, he cannot be all good.
Well, that's not entirely true. He could be all-powerful and all good, but you not being all-powerful or not all good has a skewed perspective on what good truly is, because you don't actually see the big picture. I suppose I'll probably get into that a little more next time when I review The Shack.
You, my friend, have a date.
So Lex Luthor somehow knew that all of this was gonna happen. He's quite the masterful genius, even though he couldn't convince one legislator to make a law to allow him to bring some sort of rare rock into the country. He does know somehow that Batman is gonna be so stupid, they're gonna end up fighting because Lex Luthor, he's a genius and an idiot all at the same time.
The greatest gladiator match in the history of the world.
You think I'll fight him for you?
So all Lex has to do to get Superman and Batman to fight each other is to tell Superman that if they don't, he'll kill his mom. Why doesn't Superman just fight Lex? That would make a lot more sense, and then he could just go save the mom. He comes whenever Lois is falling from a building, but he can't come when his mom's in trouble? Great for Lois, but like everybody else, sorry.
To save Martha, bring me the head of the bat.
I have to go to Gotham to convince him to help me.
Or he has to die.
Yeah, those are clearly the only two options. And now, the moment that we've come to see, the reason we're in the theater, the reason why I'm spilling my popcorn right now, to see two angry guys punch each other.
Oh, Superman in the sky!
Then Superman does his famous breaking the ground when he lands trick.
Well, here I am.
You had all this time to sit here waiting for Superman to show up, and that's what you came up with? Well, here I am then.
Bruce, please. Lex wants us.
Okay, Here's the plan. I'm gonna be fighting this flying man. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a booby trap on the ground for him to step on. Wait, hold on. You're gonna put a booby trap on the ground for a flying man to step on? Yeah, why? What's the problem? Oh, no, nothing. Good. Carry on, you're Batman. That is a perfect representation of how contrived this entire thing is. I don't know why Batman and Superman would fight each other, but you guys want that, so anybody in the audience is sitting here looking at this saying, there's a million different reasons why this wouldn't happen. The fight seems so unnecessary.
I understand.
Don't throw him, pick him up. For some reason, somebody as stupid as you is the only way that I'm gonna be able to save my mom. You're my only hope. Please help me. Thanks, Batman.
So then we see a bunch of Batman's Home Alone style tricks that he's made out of kryptonite.
Breathe it in.
Breathe it in. Why does Lex even need them to fight? He doesn't get to watch it.
You're not brave. Men are brave.
It really does feel like two drunken uncles at your birthday party and they're arguing about something stupid like who gets the last piece of cake. Come on, it's my birthday. You're ruining everything.
I bet your parents taught you that you mean something. My parents taught me a different lesson. They taught me the world only makes sense if you force it to.
Oh, wow, that was a really great lesson that your parents taught you. Because he doesn't understand what's going on around him, it makes him angry and he punches things until he does understand.
You are never even a man.
Then we get the infamous Martha scene, and it's as dumb and stupid as everybody has made it out to be.
You're letting him kill Martha. What does that mean? Why did you say that name?
Why you say that name? Me confused. I don't understand.
Martha!
So, yeah. Everybody has made fun of this scene, so what can I add to the conversation? Probably nothing other than to confirm that, yeah, it deserves everything that people have thrown at it. It is a really dumb scene. I don't think it's dumb because I don't get it. Like, I totally get it. Batman, he's been angry and frustrated this whole time, and he's looked at Superman as just this alien and not a human, the way I guess we as the audience look at him. But in this moment, he looks at Superman and he realizes, oh, this guy has a mother. It humanizes Superman, and Batman realizes that he's been stupid this whole time. I get why it was done, but the reason for doing it is because of a contrived situation that didn't need to happen in the first place.
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name.
Okay, so 20 minutes have gone by. That's right, they've wasted 20 minutes fighting each other, well, in movie time. In real time, it was just 10 minutes. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, in a 3-hour-long movie called Batman vs. Superman, the actual fight is less than 10 minutes long. So now that they're done fighting, Superman tells Batman what, of course, he could have told him all along, and Batman says, all right, yeah, I'll go save your mom. Of course, you can trust me. I'm the guy who just tried to kill you. I mean, yeah, now that Batman has pinpointed where Superman's mom is, it probably would make a lot more sense for Superman to just go over and save his own mother, because, you know, he's faster than a speeding bullet, but that, of course, would make way too much sense, and this movie seems to just be dedicated to frustrating the audience into boredom. So Batman goes to save Martha, and then we get all this carnage and killing and bullets flying everywhere that could potentially hit a pedestrian, whatever. It's a cool fight! Wait, when did he change out of his metal costume? Probably would have taken like 10 minutes, right?
Believe me, I'll do it! I believe you.
Ugh. Why? You've already shot people. If you shoot the guy, you neutralize the situation, everything's fine. Instead, you've created a bomb in the room of the very person you're trying to save. But then, we get the first joke in the movie.
It's okay. I'm a friend of your son's.
I figured. The cape?
And the property damage and unnecessarily gruesome killings.
God is good.
All the time. And all the time.
God is good as dead.
So it turns out that Lex Luthor, with his DNA mixing with Zod, has created this monster. I guess he knew that Batman and Superman wouldn't kill each other. Either way, like, what was he planning on doing if they had succeeded? So this monster's name is Doomsday. Doomsday is loose, and our two heroes have to save the city from it. Fortunately, nobody's gonna get hurt because the news channels say this.
Thankfully, the workday is over in the downtown core. It's nearly empty.
I want to destroy buildings, but everybody got mad that people were in those buildings, so, hey, nobody's in them, okay? Now, can I go on with my story? So Superman, he tries the old Iron Man, throw him up into space situation, but that doesn't work because the government decides to nuke them both. But Doomsday is the type of guy who, he feeds off of the negativity. Literally, he gets stronger whenever they shoot stuff at him, so, things are getting real bad. It's just too bad that the only thing that could destroy Doomsday is the rock that Bruce Wayne cut up in his laboratory. Boy, if only we had the ability to fight back or protect the city or whatever, but we don't because of the stupid choices of the stupid people in this stupid movie.
So Batman gets shot down by Doomsday's laser eyes, and you think he's almost done for.
Oh, shit.
Ha 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 ha. Good one. He cussed. Hilarious.
But then, is it Superman, I wonder? No! Then we get fightings and explosions and awesome Wonder Woman songs and some quips.
She with you?
I thought she was with you.
Nice trailer joke. Unfortunately, the audience knows that Batman knows who she is because we saw them together earlier in the movie.
Oh my gosh, enough with the slow motion and guitar riffs!
So in order to stop Doomsday, Superman decides to fly right through him with the kryptonite spear and destroy him, sacrificing himself in the process. No, if only the sun was out, why?
Superman, dead. Also, Clark Kent, dead. In a weird coincidence.
Boy, this is gonna be hard to explain when they both come back in the next movie. Maybe Superman and Clark Kent are dead forever in the franchise, or he could get new glasses and come back as Clark's twin brother. Surprise! So now everyone is sad, as opposed to the rest of the movie where they're happy. And actually, I think they're happier at this funeral. And then, at the end, Batman gives this strong, motivational after-school special speech about how humans can be good if they want to be, but what is good, who knows, nobody knows. After this movie, everything is bad.
The others like me. Why did you say they'll have to fight?
I don't know what I'm saying half the time. You probably shouldn't listen to me. I'm kind of an idiot. I don't know if you've noticed this. Got this strange feeling that we're gonna have to put some sort of league together that will provide the world,
justice. Then Batman visits Lex Luthor in jail, where he quotes this Sting song.
Whatever you do, wherever you go, I'll be watching you.
Every smile you fake, every claim you speak, I'll be watching you.
And then, at the end, we get... Oh my goodness, the dirt! Did you see it? Did you see it move? Did you see it? One of Superman's lesser-known powers, the ability to make dirt fly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Batman 5 Superman. And what did I think? Well, I thought it was garbage. There are a lot of people that I've talked to who really liked this movie. I am not one of them. This is the extended edition that I watched, which was 3 hours long, which is way too long. I heard people say like, oh, don't watch the theatrical version because the motivations aren't as clear, it's garbage. All it did was take longer to watch. Yeah, it's clear, but it's contrived nonetheless. One of the reasons, besides the obvious, because it's Superman and Batman together, that I was excited about this film before going into it was because it was kind of a chance to redeem the franchise. After Man of Steel, which I didn't hate, a lot of people were like, I don't like that Superman is different, which is fine. Like, Superman can be different. It's an origin story. It's a new version of the character. When the new Daniel Craig James Bond came out, you had James Bond fall in love in that movie, which is highly uncharacteristic of a James Bond character. But it was fine because they showed why James Bond is such a womanizer in his later years, because he did fall in love, and she, spoiler alert, is no longer with us. It gave him reasons. So this movie could have done that. It could have had Superman dealing with the grief of having killed Zod and having destroyed these buildings and then realizing, okay, I need to be different. This is not who I want to be. Yeah, there's some like very on the nose, like Batman's mad because they destroyed the buildings, and Superman, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Unfortunately, it just feels like a really missed opportunity. And the characters that they were in maybe the previous movies or other iterations would have worked better. So like the changing of the characters don't seem to serve the story very well. And if this was just done to make it seem unexpected, then, well, you know, sometimes it's okay to do the expected. Yes, of course, this is the intention of the director. And I think that's just Zack Snyder. The characters are kind of frustrating and dumb, and I think that's, well, maybe Zack Snyder is kind of dumb. I don't think he understood the characters, so he turned them into characters that he did understand. But by doing so, he made them one note and created a movie that seems to be completely void of any nuance. It's not like I'm not gonna go see the Justice League. I'll probably see it, even though I'm sure it'll be frustrating. I guess there's still hope of pulling this franchise out of the hole that it's in. To me, personally, I'm not giving it a lot of hope. Let's see if they can do it again.
If you haven't checked out my Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/SayGoodnightKev. It's more than just throwing money at me, even though that is always welcome. It's also about being a part of the fan community. There are also awards, and I'm always updating them to try to make sure everybody is getting something cool. One of the things that we're doing right now is that if you pledge $7 and up, then you get to be a part of this live hangout where me and anybody else who wants to join gets together and we just live chat. It's like a Skype call with me and several other people. There's some new stuff that I'll be putting out soon. It's a lot of fun and I really enjoy it. People who have pledged there, Brendan Neely, a new pledger, Matt Clark, and this guy started a Twitter called Kevin's Hat. It's not really my hat running that Twitter. It is this guy, and if you want to check that out, he posts some funny stuff on there. Also, you can check out the guys at the Religious Nut and Hellbound Center podcast. All right, that's all I have to say for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Talk to you guys soon. Good night.
Ow! Wow, that is a good grip. You should not pick a fight with this person.